This build will grant you an incredible amount of melee damage, causing at least 100,000 precision damage with your weighted knife, and you would also instantly ignite your enemies, in combination with these fragments and weapons you'll be using for this build. Additionally, you can further enhance your melee damage with specific seasonal mods, such as Monochromatic Maestro. This seasonal mod would allow you to deal increased amounts of precision damage when using your weighted knife. So without using Monochromatic Maestro and the gameplay that you're seeing on screen, you'll deal 100,000 damage plus an extra 50,000 damage with the ignition proc. But if you have Monochromatic Maestro on, you'll deal at least 300,000 damage plus the ignition. But the gameplay that you saw, it didn't proc it because he died by the weighted knife. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys what weapons you'll need for this build, and also the fragments and abilities, and also the exotic armor we're going to be using for this build. So if you would like to know how you can deal insane amounts of damage with your weighted knife on your hunter, be sure to tune in. Let me first start with the seasonal mods that you should use in season 22. So as what you're seeing here on screen, these are the seasonal mods that I was using, but let me show you guys which mod you would specifically need. The one that you'll need is on the 5th column slot, and it's on the top row, which is called Monochromatic Maestro. So if you'll deal damage with your subclass abilities, it would give you a plus 10% to your weapons that are matching your subclass. And if you'll deal damage with weapons that are matching your subclass, it would give your abilities a plus 10% damage boost for 5 seconds. So it's kind of like an infinite looping cycle for a weapon damage boost. So this is very good for this build if you want to deal increased damage. Here are what fragments, abilities, aspects, and super you'll need for this build. Let's start with the super. For the super, I would go for Blade Barrage because it's the quickest cooldown for the Hunter subclass for Solar, and plus we could be able to decrease the cooldown even more with the mods that would be provided for this build. For the abilities, of course we're doing a melee build, so we gotta go for Gambler's Dodge. Whenever you dodge near an enemy, it'll fully recharge your melee ability. And you guys already know we're using a weighted knife build, so you gotta put weighted knife for your melee, which will proc Scorch and Ignition. What's cool about this Solar melee is that whenever you scorch a target, they will ignite. If you would get a precision final blow with this knife, it would immediately recharge your class ability. So be sure to get precision final blows. That's your main goal for this build. And for the Solar Grenade, I wanted to put a grenade that would proc Scorch very quickly, and the cooldown is also quick as well. I chose to put Firebolt Grenade because it's like a no-brainer. You'll just throw your grenade and it would instantly track to the target next to him. Put this on if you would like to get a guarantee ignition for your weighted knife. On the solar aspects, the first one you would want to put is Knock Him Down. This one's good for your solar ability melee because whenever you're radiant, final blows with your equipped throwing knife fully refund your melee energy. And as you're radiant, your Blade Barrage launches more projectiles, which is pretty cool. And it would give you plus 2 fragment slots. So if you do not have radiant on, and if you would like to get your weighted knife back, you would have to get precision kills. But if you do have radiant on, in which case it's going to be on at all times, every time you get a melee kill, it would fully give you your throwing knife back, so you can just keep chucking them non-stop. The next solar aspect is On Your Mark. This one's good for the exotic armor we're going to be using. Whenever you get precision final blows, it would grant you and your nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed for a short duration, and it will stack up to 3 times. Whenever you activate your class ability, it would immediately grant maximum stacks of On Your Mark, and it would also give you 3 fragment slots, so you would have 5 fragment slots in total. Without further ado, let's head to the fragments. The first fragment you're going to want to use is Ember of Torches. This one is good because you're going to be provided with Radiant whenever you deal damage to a combatant, and it would also give you minus 10 discipline. What's cool about this is that you have the ability to stun anti-barrier champions. The second solar fragment is Ember of Solace. This one increases the duration of Radiant and Restoration, but the only part we're going to worry about is Radiant for this solar fragment. The third solar fragment is Ember of Empyrean. This one allows you to get Radiant unlimited amount of times, but you would need to use solar weapons or ability final blows to extend the duration for Radiant. If you have this fragment on, it would give you minus 10 resilience. The fourth fragment is Ember of Ashes. This one you'll be able to apply more scorch stacks to targets, which allows you to get easy ignitions whenever you do so. And also, whenever you get ignitions, you will be able to stun unstoppables as well. The fifth and final fragment for this build is Ember of Char. Your solar ignition spreads scorch to affected targets. It would give you plus 10 discipline. Now onto the weapons that you're going to be using. There are 2 weapons that will benefit for increasing your damage for your weighted knife. Let's head to the first one. The first one is going to be on your kinetic weapon, which is a special shotgun, which comes with auto reloading holster, and 1-2 punch. This is the perk that will allow you to increase your melee damage even more. Why? Now let me show you. So whenever you hit a target with this shotgun, you would have a 1-second timer of increased melee damage. You will get a 40% increased powered melee damage once you do so. And also 1-2 punch also increases your melee damage even more when you're dealing with bosses, but it would increase it up to 25%. So if you're dealing damage to a boss, instead of it being for 40%, it is now going to be 25%. And onto the energy weapon. This weapon will allow you to scorch targets and also causes them to ignite with your weighted knife. I'm using the Callus mini tool, and the perks you would want to go for are threat detector and incandescent. Incandescent is the one that you would want to go for because whenever you defeat a target, it would spread scorch to those nearby. But if you defeat a powerful combatant, the scorch would be in a larger radius. And for the Callus mini tool, you don't really have to use this SMG specifically. There's other variations of this SMG. So for example, you can use like bug out, which comes with incandescent as well, or the one from Ghost of the Deep, you can use that one as well. As long as that weapon has incandescent, you should be fine. Now here is the second weapon that will allow you to deal even more damage to a single target. This is an exotic shotgun that everybody loves using when dealing extra damage, and it's called the tractor cannon. And the catalyst for the tractor cannon doesn't really matter, but if you do have it, here's what it does. It increases your ammo reserves. So it will be 4 bullets in the magazine, but with the catalyst, it would bump it up to 7 in the magazine. I'm pretty sure you guys know what tractor cannon does, but I just want to let you guys know if you're one of those people that don't know what the shotgun does. The intrinsic trait is called repulsor force. This weapon emits a powerful impulse that pushes enemies away, and it would also suppress their abilities and makes them more vulnerable to incoming damage. And with the tractor debuff, it would deal 30% increased damage to that specific target, and it would also stack with 1-2 punch. And for the stats that I do recommend you guys would want to go for are resilience and mobility. This is how you can be able to increase your weighted knife damage even more. You would first need to have this exotic gauntlet on the hunter, and here's what it does. If you would get a precision hit with any weapon you're using, it would increase the buff duration by 5 seconds each up to 30 seconds. That is the cap that you can reach. And once you've activated Skittering Stinger, here's what it does. It would grant you 50 strength while the buff is active, and it would also give you 200% increase the damage, and you'll be able to stun unstoppable champions, but the buff is consumed once you hit the unstoppable champion with your weighted knife. So overall, you'll deal at least 300% increased damage to your weighted knife on a single target. That is pretty insane. And here are the mods that you need for the gauntlet. You're first going to want to put heavy-handed, impact induction, and focusing strike. In order for you to deal this amount of damage, you would need to know how you would need to use this build. So what you're first going to want to do is, of course, to proc Radiant, and as soon as you're doing that, be sure to get kills around you to extend the Radiant duration timer. And as you're getting kills with your weapons, be sure to get precision kills to maximize the damage of your weighted knife. And once you have those two down, head to the target you want to eliminate. Once you do, throw your fireball grenade at them to scorch them, then hit them with the tractor cannon. Afterwards, swap to your kinetic shotgun, hit them with the shotgun, and then immediately use your weighted knife, and be sure to get a precision hit. If you don't, the damage will not be increased. So that is how you can be able to deal insane amounts of damage with just a single throwing knife. For your helmet, you're going to want to put Harmonic Siphon, Hands-On, and Dynamo. For your chest armor, you're going to want to put Harmonic Resistance, Melee Damage Resistance, and Arc Resistance. For your leg armor, you need to put Recuperation, Innervation, and Absolution. And last but not least, for your Hunter Cloak, you're going to want to put Bomber, Reaper, and Powerful Attraction. And if you would like to take a screenshot of the whole armor mods that you'll be using for this build, it would be on screen as we speak. And if you're one of those Giga Chat gamers that made it this far into the video, be sure to put Barrage Massage in the comment section. Follow me on Kick and join the Discord. It will be in the link in the description. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, evening, or afternoon, and I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.